security issues.
You can see a shadow behind me. This is not a shadow. It's basically James. Say hi, James. Yeah, I'm a bit racist, guys. So. Oh, guys, we're back. So welcome back to the channel. This video, most anticipated video about the entrance exam and the admission interview. So if you're applying to Stipendium Hungaricum Scholarship and you are going to have the interview, so this video is for you. So the admission process of the universities, it mostly consists of two parts. So there is the entrance exam part, which is like a written part, and then there is the oral part of the exam plus the motivation interview or the admission interview, we say. So these are like kind of two parts of the admission process in most of the universities. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the generalized oral part, or you can say the admission interview part. For the written part, please check out my Telegram channel. I send the past papers in that group. I kind of tried to collect as much as I could. There are basically two groups. So one is the Telegram announcement group and one is the discussion group. So discussion group is basically you can get connected with the other applicants as well. So make sure to check out the link, go to the Telegram, join the channel. And secondly, if you want to know more about the student life in Hungary, how the lives look like, how daily life look like, check out my Instagram. I usually post or stories or videos and pictures, so you can kind of get motivated as well. So this video is mostly going to be about the oral part or the admission interview part, and I'm gonna talk about what are the most frequently asked questions from the examiner and how to tackle them, how to answer them correctly so you would get the maximum points and you will be able to impress the examiner, so you'll make sure that your admission is guaranteed. So let's start. Okay, so the basic rule for answering each question is you just answer what you have asked to. So you don't go anywhere else. If they just ask about X, you just answer X. You don't go towards Y. So the reason I'm saying is most of the time, for example, first they would ask you, tell us about yourself, and later on they would ask you about your motivation. But most of the time, what I saw that what students do is like when they start talking about themselves, they also start talking about their motivation, like, oh, why they want to, apply for this program and why they want to come to country. So you just, to get the maximum point, you just tell them what they have asked for. So let's go to the first question and you would, get the idea. So the first question usually they ask is like, tell us a little bit about yourself. So this question is straightforward. You just tell, about yourself, your background, your personal information, like where you're from, what's your name, and a little bit about your skills and experience in a way that you just touch them, but don't really explain and don't go towards the motivation. So for example, let's say if I'm doing an interview for a physiotherapy program. So if they would ask me tell us about yourself, I would start something like, hi, my name is Soban, I'm from Pakistan, and I have been playing professional cricket for 10 years. And I also studied biology in high school. So I'm kind of giving, my background in a way that I'm touching the points which are important and which I would use in the motivation later on. But just to build up and just to give an idea about yourself, who you are, what kind of, skills you have and what kind of background you have, in this, section, you can start like this just to build up for the, later on coming questions, because they are going to ask you about your motivation for sure. So this is one thing, this is one trick that you can use. You just touch the points in your introduction, but you don't explain them. If you would start explaining them, the examiner would not have the chance to ask you more questions, and that's how you lose the point. So you just focus on the question you are being asked. Okay, let's move on to the next question. The next question is mostly they ask you about, what is your motivation, why you're applying for this program. It could be a different, sentence, but the goal behind asking this is the same, like what is your motivation, or why are you applying for this specific program, or why are you interested in this program. So in that section, you just, again, whatever you have written in the motivation letter, that's really important that you have to know what you have wrote in the motivation letter. I always tell everybody, like, whenever you are going to have the admission interview, just read your motivation letter one more time just to make sure, and probably make the bullet points like what you have wrote in the motivation letter. And this is one thing that they are checking in the admission interview, that the person knows what he has written in the motivation letter. And this basically shows that you know what you're doing, what you're going to do, and everything is legit. Your documents are legit. You have it made by yourself. So yeah, you just have to tell exactly the same thing you have written in the motivation letter, and this question would be okay for you. And the third question usually they ask is like, why you chose this specific university. To tackle this question, I would highly recommend you to check the program website or the program page on the university website first and read about the program, like what subjects you are going to study, what is the structure, what is happening during the first year, what is going to happen during the second year, like what kind of courses are there. If you would just read them and kind of make the bullet points about them, like first year, second year, these are the subjects, and if you would be able to kind of explain these in this question, they would be really happy, and it would show that you know what you're doing and you know what you are coming for. You have read about the program. It's just not like you just applied for it because you like it, but you have applied for it because you're interested in it and you know what you're doing. So this is also one more trick that I tell to everybody, that read the program structure, make the bullet points of like the year-wise breakdown of the studies, and explain this in this section. The reason you're applying for this specific university is because I have, read this, the program structure, and I really like these subjects or this way of teaching of, practical and theoretical knowledge put together, or the university is really good at research, or this university has something different from the other university. So there are different ways you can tackle a question, but the idea is the same, that you kind of have to explain and show that you have read the program structure and you know what you're doing and you know what you are going to study. Okay, so the third question is mostly about why did you specifically choose this country or this location to study or this city to study. It doesn't matter. There could be different way to ask. So here, the reason for asking this question is again not about the university itself. It's more about, you know that which country you are coming to, and you have read about the lifestyle of the country, and they are actually checking that you know what to expect in a way. So the best way to tackle this question is just to do a research about the city that you're going into. So first you have to check why this country is famous for. Let's say it could be academic, it could be student life, it could be, different things, specifically your program. And then just check about the city as well, and just tell them and give an idea that you have read about the city as well, you have read about the country as well, and you know what you are going for and you know what you are going to expect. So this is also one thing that you have to cover. And this is, again, the reasons could be anything, but do your research. And if you already have an answer, that's much more better. But if you don't have an answer, then just do the research about the country, about the city, and you would be able to tackle this question as well. The last important questions, I would say, there are other questions I would talk about which they can ask, but mostly this is the last question that they ask, like, why should they choose you over the other student? So they usually start like, our acceptance rate is like 1 out of 4 students get into our university or get into this program. Why should we choose you? So to tackle this question, there are so many answers to this question, but the main point of this question is you just tell them your unique skills, your unique personality, your unique experience, anything that is unique that would make you different from other people in a positive way. For example, you can talk about, I have been studying in an international environment and it would be easier for me to adapt to international environments such as, let's say, Semmelweis University or whatever, because it's so international. There are, people from 60 plus countries. This could be one. And the second example could be your language. You can say like you have, 6.57 IELTS, or you have been studying for 12 years in an international, language, in English language or whatever language you're going for. This could also be one that you will not have any problem communicating with, and learning in the environment. It could be anything else, but it should be more, practical or logical or something, again, unique, but which would kind of show that you're better than other students. It could be any certification that you did before. For example, if you check Evelina's interview, I think if you see the podcast from on Semmelweis University channel, I also have in my recent podcast, I think she mentioned that she had the nursing certificate. This made her unique as well. So it could be anything which is related to your field, and which would related to your field or related to the program you're applying for. It should be connected to some requirements, you know. So you kind of, you know, talk about the requirement, like check the program and check the requirements and kind of try to connect these with the requirements, I would say. So let's say English language is a requirement. If you're good in English, you can, you know, say that. In, you know, medicine, let's say, they talk, you know, they would teach you about, you know, nursing. If you have nursing certification, if you have any relevant experience before, let's say you have worked in the hospital before, you have worked with some, you know, I don't know, physiotherapists before or doctors before, or if you have seen something like this, it makes you unique. It makes you, you know, better than other students which doesn't have a certification like this or which doesn't have an experience like this. So you can mention this. So just check the requirement and try to kind of connect them together. And in that way, you would be able to get the maximum point out of it. Okay, I think that's basically the main question. They can also ask different questions just to check you, just to know more about you. They can probably ask you like, what are your 3 strengths and 3 weaknesses? They can also give you a situation, like, for example, it's usually an open question. It doesn't have a right or wrong answer, but they're just checking about your logical thinking or rational thinking. They would ask you, let's say, they would give you a situation like, okay, this is a situation, this is a problem, how would you solve it? There is no, wrong or right answer, but it's really subjective answer, and they have their own criteria of, evaluation. This could also be a question, but these are the more general question I just told you, and just focus on these and you would be good. University admission interview is not so hard for most of the degrees. For medicine, probably hard in a way that you have to probably in the evaluation part. It could be difficult if you don't know the answers, of course, but if you have studied, it's really easy. And most of the time, they're just checking your personality. They're just checking how you communicate. They're just checking, what you're doing. And they're checking your English language. Most importantly, they're actually checking your English language, how you speak and how you communicate, or you're able to actually come to a new environment and you're open and you can talk with people. So these are some of the things that they're checking. And if you would do good and if you would be confident, even you don't know the answer to something, but you are just confident and you're honest about yourself, they would be okay with it. And I think you would get the maximum points. Okay, guys, so that was it. Sorry for the long video. I know nobody likes to watch the long video, but I think it's important for me to explain. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe, please. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I would really appreciate it. You can check out the comment section and ask me questions if you have. And also make sure to join the Telegram channel, follow me on Instagram, and let's get connected. Let's, talk on Telegram or Instagram. So yeah, I wish you best of luck and hope to see you in Hungary. See ya.